I read your website and I was in tears because it felt like you completely understood me. And I was like, ding, ding, ding,
That's
ding.
it. That's so good. You had a very different experience with your first website than mine. I used to joke that I had a unique talent for taking a beautiful template and making it hideous. Um,
I didn't say it was pretty, Amanda. I said it got the message across.
it was not pretty, but it
No.
still worked. Welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. I am so excited to continue our series on coaches. And I am joined today by my friend Anna J. Conte. We were in a mutual coaching program together. And I was so impressed with her presence, with how she was so grounded. I often tell people humble, the definition of humble is grounded to the earth, but yet she just has this wonderful energy. And when I looked a little deeper, AKA stalked her on Instagram, I discovered that Anna is an expert in wealth growth and specializes in working with female entrepreneurs. And so, of course, I wound up down the rabbit hole. This is a coach who knows what she's talking about. I slid into the DMs and said, "Hey, Anna, would you like to talk?" And she was so gracious in saying yes. So, welcome to the show, Anna.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited, and the feeling is mutual. It's funny with this internet that we have that you can just meet people and click without actually meeting them in person. So I'm really excited to be here.
I am so excited and grateful that you're here too. Take 30 seconds and introduce yourself. What
Yeah.
is it you specialize in? Where are you located? Who do you love to work with?
Yeah. So, born and raised New Yorker, daughter of immigrants, come from a lower middle class background, and I somehow ended up in this world of wealth management where I was talking to people with $200 million net worth. It was a big jump. Now I work primarily with women entrepreneurs and women going through transition, divorce, inheritance, selling a business, starting a business. I help them come up with plans that center their values and unique experiences, the non-negotiables for them, and create a sustainable plan to get there.
Oh my gosh. I love everything about what you just said. It's so important. I'll never forget the moment that I read a book called The Feminine Mistake by Leslie Bennett. The whole central theme of it was women surrendering their financial knowledge and their independence instead of really owning that. And that had a major impact on me. So that's why when I saw what you did and how you talk about it on your Instagram, I was like, oh, I would love to know this woman better. So catch me up on like why wealth? Of all the
Yeah.
things that you could coach on, what is it that has you getting out of bed so early in the morning,
Yeah.
coming to podcasts from strangers on the internet, braving all the things to further a cause? What's behind that?
Yeah. So there's two things. I would say I grew up with a single mom. My mom worked two or three jobs throughout my whole childhood. Most of the women in my family were very low income, not particularly educated, and they suffered a lot
Mm.
economically as a result. I saw just how toxic a lot of the situations they were in when were limited by finances, right? So can't leave an abusive marriage because how am I going to make rent? How am I going to take care of the kids? I can't work and take care of the kids at the same time when I'm single. And so that prompted in me just a desire of, I'm leaving that whole thing behind. I stumbled into wealth management. I just picked up a call from a recruiter. It wasn't some burning desire. It wasn't a career path that I knew was even available to a little Puerto Rican girl from New York. I ended up working in this world, and it was like a light bulb went off for me that said, there's this whole world that I don't know about. And nobody in my whole large family is talking about this kind of stuff. And it prompted me to learn everything. In terms of doing that for my career, though, at first I just wanted to learn for my own benefit. But then I realized how transformative being financially well was for my life. And I knew that there are so many women that are like me, that are first generation, that are come from disadvantaged backgrounds, or just women, period, that don't necessarily have that financial autonomy and freedom. I wanted to have a way to share that with them.
I love that. I've talked to so many hundreds of coaches, and the theme that I'm hearing here is like this juxtaposition of where you came from, what you experienced, and you didn't know everything that you know now, but you knew that if these women had more money, more wealth consciousness, more financial support, they would have changed their situation in a lot of different ways. And then
Yeah.
you happened to move into a career that just opened your eyes. I think that's such a common thread for us as coaches. We discover something that at first, I love that you pointed that out, was life changing for us and was incredible for our experience. And then realizing, oh my gosh, all these people that I left behind, they have no idea. And that becomes
Yeah.
this fire. I love it. So you've done pretty well for yourself. Can you catch us up? Us like
Yeah.
about your business. How long have you been in business?
Yeah.
When you coach people, are you doing private coaching, group coaching? How do you
Yeah.
help people?
Yeah. So I worked in corporate wealth management for 10 years, got really tired of it, and decided to make this leap into entrepreneurship in 2019. So I've been an entrepreneur since then. That's taken different forms as it's not a linear path. I ran my own solo practice for a while, doing mostly wealth management, and I would do workshops with folk. Did a business partnership that wasn't for me. And now I'm in a new phase where I have two main ways that I work with folks. One is I do one-on-one wealth management, and that's typically for folks that are higher income or have complex financial situations. And I also have a group coaching program where I work with women who are really wanting to get the foundational skills that they need to manage their wealth in a way that will help them create that financial freedom, right? So they want to figure out, how much should I have in an emergency fund? How much should I invest for retirement? How do I prioritize and make decisions? We talk a ton about decision making and how to create a filter about the financial choices you're making. How much do I invest for retirement? How much do I invest for my kids' college? When can I become work optional and financially independent? And so I do that as well. Besides my kids, it's a reason that I pop out of bed every day and I'm ready to go. And I didn't share this with you, Amanda, but I just moved last week and my husband's, we have to unpack. And I'm like, but I have to write this email. And not because I feel pressure. I don't have a boss. I can do whatever I want, but just because I want to get that information out there and it feels really pressing to me. It's so motivating.
That's amazing. I love how you're pointing out you're building this in the context of building your life too.
Yeah.
That's so important. I'm curious, what role has coaching had in your growth,
Oh,
development? You've done so much already since 2019 as an entrepreneur. Has coaching played much of a role for you?
kid you not when I tell you that coaching has been the best decision I've ever made. Without coaching and personal development, I would not be here. Like I grew up in a very dysfunctional household. My one purpose in life was not to struggle financially and to have a loving, intact family. Those were my two driving forces. I wanted to be a very present mom. I wake up in 2018. I was going to a yoga retreat with two of my best friends. I had to drive 6 hours there, 6 hours back, and I was driving by myself for most of the way. I cried the entire way there because I was in so much pain. I had all the things, but I wasn't living up to what I wanted to be. That was really hard for me. So I spent the weekend digesting it. I started getting into meditation. But then in early 2019, I'm massively pregnant. I stumble across this podcast for a life coach. I hire her. That was the single best decision I've ever made. I put $1,200 on a credit card to hire her. And I don't advocate for that all the time, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Her guidance, her introduction to thought work, her perspective as a businesswoman and giving me an idea of what was possible
Mhm.
opened up so many doors. I've continued to invest in coaching in different forms and with different types of coaches since then, but that was the best decision because I don't think that I would be as far as I had been if I had not been introduced to.
I love that. And that's a big reason why I do what I do, why I love supporting other coaches, because No one really lays claim to that term. Like, you're a
Mhm.
coach, I'm a
Yeah.
coach. I was chatting with another friend of mine who is a Reiki healer, and her program is all about getting the right vibes. And I was like, that's
Mhm.
so cool. There's
Yeah.
so many different sorts of coaches. And I think the one thing we have in common is we are helping people to achieve a goal that is important to them. And we
Mhm.
provide the social support, we provide knowledge, we provide in the case of a group program, that community container. That's how we even met. We were
Yeah.
both in a group community container, and we're like, hey.
Yeah.
I love
Exactly.
it. I love it. If you were to list what you think makes an amazing coach. So the whole point of this is I want to talk about coaches that don't suck, because a lot of us coaches hold ourselves back. We feel like we can't do things by ourselves that we can do by ourselves, or
Hmm.
we think that we have to hire something out that actually we could probably do on the cheap until we can get to the place where we can pay for it, for example. I'm on a mission to show coaches that confidence comes first, right? And that fuels your courage. Then you get to benefit from your effort and your work and get past holding back until a better time.
Yeah.
One of the things I hear so much is, I don't want to be one of those people. I
Hmm.
don't want to be slimy or scammy. I don't want to be a coach that sucks.
Yeah.
And we all start somewhere with what we're doing. So I'm just curious for you, what would you say? I'm going to ask for five that you think makes a coach not suck at any
Yeah.
stage.
I think foremost, they have to come at it from the right place. They have the right intention and focus on getting their clients' results in a way that they actually need, whatever type of coaching we're talking about. They have to be committed to their craft and improving their craft. I heard on a podcast recently, as a coach, it's really important to balance the business skills with your technical skills, like to make sure that you're giving equal time and weight to those. And that's something that I try to focus on a lot, like continuing to get better at what I do and deepen my knowledge, and also be a solid entrepreneur, because that's a huge part of what we do. You and I talked about this in the DMs the other day, but listening is really important,
Mm-hmm.
and not making it about you, because it's not really about you. At the end of the day, in that relationship, if you want it to be about you, go hire your own coach. Listening to the clients are really important. I think the ability to put yourself in the other person's shoes and think like that person is also important. So, okay, if I am this, what do I need? And what are the thoughts that are coming through my head? And what's holding me back? And why am I not taking action? Because then that allows you to create content, public facing content, lead generation marketing, but then also content for your clients that can help them have a breakthrough. And I think visibility, because nobody is going to find you if you are just sitting in your office. Like, this idea that I can just be an excellent coach or excellent at what I do and the world is going to come to me. Sure, to some degree, but that's not going to make your business. You have to be out there. And I view that as a responsibility of ours to be out there so that our people can find us too. And I think the time that personally, when I really realized that, is I had done a website update once I felt comfortable about the client I was going to work with and exactly how I could help. I got on a prospect sales call with a client who's still my client 4 years later. And she said, I read your website and I was in tears because it felt like you completely understood me. And I was like, ding, ding, ding,
That's
ding.
it. That's so good. You had a very different experience with your first website than mine. I used to joke that I had a unique talent for taking a beautiful template and making it hideous. Um,
I didn't say it was pretty, Amanda. I said it got the message across.
it was not pretty, but it
No.
still worked. I love that. And one of my clients that I had early on replied to a blog that I shared. And it just led to this conversation that led to a multi-year coaching engagement. Had I not written the blog, that would never have happened. And I think sometimes, especially nowadays with content proliferation and all this pressure to always be on, and now all these tools that are making that accelerate and go way, way faster. If you had a tip for somebody who maybe their business was stalling out, or maybe they're just starting out and they're like, okay, I've got these amazing skills, but I don't know, what would you say to that?
Yeah. I think two things. One, just look at what your offer is and make sure that offer is really aligned with who your clients are now. There is an evolution. I had that same evolution over the last 5 years in terms of where I started, my ideal client profile, and what I thought they needed versus what I've actually seen they need over time. The other is you have to work with what you got and be really resourceful. I think we focus on, oh, I need this huge audience to make more money or a bigger email list, more YouTube subscribers, cast downloads, whatever the thing is, and whatever your marketing channel is. I think what we have to focus on is leveraging what you already have. One of the things that I've done that's really impactful was probably 2 weeks ago. I followed up with all the old leads that I had for the last year and got two new clients out of them. I just emailed them and was like, hey, you
Wow.
dropped off. I'd love to connect. And they're like, oh my God, I've been waiting to reach out to you. I've been meaning to. Life has gotten busy. Let's talk. Two new clients just
That's
because I sent an email.
I love that. I think there's a lot that is out of our control, but there's so much that really is in our control. When I was starting, I had such severe social anxiety. And what I've noticed is actually a lot of coaches do. They love the deep conversation or they love helping people behind closed doors and in private. But when it comes to being in a room or the ultimate scary thing, being visible online, we shrink and we get confused about our expression of who we are. Authentic expression is the tool for being successful with your coaching business, making sure that whatever message you are putting out there is resonant. Because of the fear, people hold back from expressing who they really are and how much they want to help and how much they've already invested in being excellent at what they do. Instead, they're doing everybody else's job of judging,
Yeah,
right?
for
And
sure.
I'm just so curious. You do the work. You're a person who shows up. You're doing really big things. I'm excited about the work you're doing. And so what would you say has helped you step forward even when you weren't feeling completely prepared? Or are you
Yeah.
one of those people that's completely prepared before you make a move?
No, I am someone that operates off of a lot of intuition. My husband teases me. She just wakes up and is, this is a good idea and just does it, which sometimes they are, other times they're not. But I think it's being willing to try it and say, oh, that didn't work out the way I thought it would. And it's really about getting data. So you try
Mm.
something, oops, that didn't really work. Let me try something else. Some of my biggest successes and level ups have been when I've tried something new, gone out on that limb, and then it did work. I'm really big on thought work. I don't know if you're familiar with Byron Katie, that book, Loving What Is Changed My Life. She talks about my business, God's business, and other people's business. The reception of my work is other people's business. The algorithm is other people's business. My business is to make sure that I continue to care, try new things, play in traffic, and put myself out there. Something at some point will hit. You also have to ask for help and seek additional knowledge along the way, and then you can refine your approach.
I love this. This is good. Anna, what's the best way for people
Yeah.
to follow you, to connect with you, and get to know you even better?
Instagram and LinkedIn are two of the biggest social platforms for me. You can follow me at ANJIEKONTE on Instagram, or you can search my name on LinkedIn and you'll find me. I do have a really exciting resource for your listeners if they're interested. I have put together a mini course for someone who is just looking for the how do I get started? What do I do with my money? Like where do things go? Or I have no idea if I'm doing things right. If anybody DMs me on Instagram, once again, my Instagram handle is at ANJIEKONTE plus your name, Amanda, and says mini course plus Amanda, then I will send them a link to get that.
That is outstanding and so generous. Thank you so much.
My
Um,
pleasure.
I have just loved having you here on the podcast. And listeners, do be sure to follow Anna. Go ahead and below our video, if you're watching this on the YouTubes or anywhere else, you'll find the link to the show notes and everything. And we'll also include the resource there. So, y'all, thank you so much for joining for another episode of Coaches That Don't Suck. And we'll see you again next time.